Are you facing an impossible situation? Do you feel overwhelmed by what's going on around you? I want you to know God is big enough to be the source of what you need. God's big enough to be the shelter that you need in your life right now. God reveals himself through many names in the scriptures. One of my favorite is El Shaddai. We first see that in the book of Genesis, chapter 17. God has come to Abraham, a 75-year-old man, and said, I'm going to make you the father of many nations. I'm going to make you a father. But Abraham didn't even have any children. His wife was already past the age of bearing children. It says that her womb was dead in the scriptures. But in Genesis 17, God shows up and he reveals himself by the name El Shaddai. It says when Abraham, and at this point he's even older, it says when Abraham was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him saying, I am God Almighty, El Shaddai, live in my presence and be devoted to me. God revealed himself as El Shaddai. El, God, the Almighty One. Shaddai literally comes from the word describing a mother's breast. And the idea is the mother pours source and sustenance and life into that child through her breast. And she also protects that child close to her breast. She pours her life into the child. She pours her life out for the child in protection. God is our source and our shelter. El Shaddai, our almighty source, our almighty shelter. God provided for Abraham through Sarah a miracle son they called Isaac. She is 90 years old and she had a baby, and the son brought so much joy to them, Isaac, that they named him Laughter. God is the source. What do you need God to provide for you today? God is the almighty source. He's El Shaddai. He pours life and sustenance and whatever you need into your life. He's El Shaddai. He's not only our source, but he's our shelter. In Psalm 91, it's a great chapter, especially for those of us that get on the front lines of ministry, because when you step up to serve God, you find out that the enemy puts a bigger target on your back and he steps up to attack you. If you're involved in ministry, you understand what it is to be attacked by the enemy, to be hit with his waves of oppression, his waves of temptation, his waves of accusation. You understand what it is for the enemy to bring division or discouragement against you, against your ministry. Psalm 91, verse 1 says, He who lives under the shadow of the Most High dwells in the shadow of El Shaddai, the Almighty shelter. Verse 2, I will say to the Lord, my refuge, my fortress, my shelter, my shield, my God, in whom I trust. If you're facing spiritual attack today, I want to encourage you. God is El Shaddai. He's your shelter. He's the almighty source of protection. He's the shield you need. Run to him today.